stone ship. 20 million years ago, when the sea covered the region of Romagna, a little whale ran aground and died on a rock. This rock was like a stone ship sailing slowly and fearlessly through the foothills of the Apennines. Finally, its majestic stone shape emerged on the clays of the plain. In 1897, the Bolognese geologist G. Capellini found the whale fossil just near the crow's nest of the stone ship, that is, the peak of Mount Titano. An irregular quadrilateral in shape, the lofty and impressive Mount Titano overhangs gently sloping hills and looks like a real ship, especially to visitors coming from the district of Serravalle, the land of the saints. The Christian stonecutters Marino and Leo came to this rocky peak to look for rocks and boulders to carve. Persecuted by the Emperor Diocletian, they left Arbe, a Croatian region now called Rab, and came to Rimini in order to repair the damage inflicted by the barbarian invaders. It was a dangerous yet exciting historical period for the worshippers of the newborn Christian Church. Leo retreated to Mount Feretrio, which is now called Mount San Leo. Shortly afterwards, Marino followed his example and retreated to Mount Titano. Here, in an idyllic atmosphere of miracles, hard work and prayers, other brothers joined the pious hermit. This first Christian community was the heart and soul of the future Republic of San Marino, whose foundation dates back to those heroic times. On September 3rd, 301, Pope Stephen II received the Castellum Sancti Marini as a present from Pepin the Frank. For 1,700 years and more, the people of San Marino prospered and gathered first around a fortified monastery and then around the church. Though time passed, they never forgot their religious and cultural heritage. The first years of navigation were doubtless difficult, yet fundamental to consolidate an organized community. The 13th century witnessed the dawn of freedom and of independence for San Marino, which became a free commune ruled by two consules or consuls, Filippo da Sterpeto and Oddone Scarito. By this time, the territory of San Marino was half as large as today. The Arengo, or Assembly of the Heads of the Families, was created, and the first statute was written. 3 mighty fortifications rose on the very top of the 3 peaks of Mount Titano, and became a unique example of impregnable medieval strongholds. The documents recording these past centuries bear witness to the existence not only of the proud and united people of San Marino, but also to their fights against their neighbours, such as the bishops of Montefeltro, of Rimini, of Ravenna, and the Malatesta family. This is probably the reason why, since the year 1339, the captain's regent present a large crossbow to the Massaro, mayor of the Republic, every 6 months. The stone ship of San Marino was sailing before the wind while its people prospered. When the Arengo became too large, it was replaced by the Great General Council, numbering 60 members, and the old consuls were superseded by the captain's regent. At this time, the inhabitants of San Marino who had espoused the cause of the Montefeltro family waged war against the Malatestas. At the end of the war, the Republic of San Marino, so called since 1448, conquered the Malatesta castles of Fiorentino, Montegiardino, Serravalle, and Faetano. In 1463, the extension of San Marino was already as large as today, and since that time onwards its territory has not changed. Peace reigned in this independent republic until the year 1503, when Cesare Borgia, known as the Duke Valentino, annexed its territory and moved the capital of the small state to the restive district of Serravalle. Fortunately, the death of the tyrant brought freedom back to Titano. While neighbouring states openly menaced this freedom, the Dukes of Urbino protected it as time passed. Unfortunately, in 1631, the last duke died, leaving San Marino in the hands of the church. Although still independent, the Republic passed through a long period of moral and civil decline, which reached its peak in a second terrible conflict, when Cardinal Alberoni, the papal legate of Romagna, pulled off a coup d'etat and invaded San Marino, with the approval of the Pope. The Cardinal aimed at submitting its inhabitants spontaneously and annexing this territory to the States of the Church. Historical records, although sometimes contradictory, claim that at first the attempt was successful. In fact, the papal legate left San Marino only after appointing a new governor and leaving a garrison on the Titano. The menace of tyranny allowed the people of San Marino to regain their original unity and wisdom. Supported by the ambassadors of France, Spain, Austria and the Vatican, the people of San Marino sent messages to the Pope against the cruel injustice of Cardinal Alberoni. As a consequence, the Pope ordered the restoration of freedom, and since then this historical event is yearly celebrated on the 5th of February. The dark moments of the past taught the people of San Marino to love freedom deeply, to have a sense of their own and other people's limits, and to express their sympathy for persecuted people asking for hospitality and protection. When Napoleon came to Italy in 1797, he sent them a letter expressing both his friendship and his great esteem for those who succeeded in preserving their freedom. He also offered them the opportunity of enlarging the territory of the state. After thanking him, the people of San Marino declared they were proud of their smallness, but accepted a proposal to guarantee their freedom through the centuries. After the fall of the Roman Republic in 1849, the fugitive Italian hero Garibaldi and his fiancée Anita found shelter and protection on the Titano. The Pope and Austria were annoyed to find that Garibaldi had been helped. As a consequence, San Marino suffered a cruel reprisal, which however did not change the public spirit and kindness of the people of San Marino. During the Second World War, San Marino opened its door to more than 100,000 refugees who were looking for shelter. 2 tablets were placed in memory of this dramatic event. Today, in an atmosphere more relaxed yet deep-rooted in the events of the past, San Marino welcomes 3 million tourists and offers them an enchanting legend, fascinating history and breathtaking landscape. If you are not in a hurry, you will also discover the sincere attachment of the people of San Marino to their old institutions, which protected and developed a unique tradition of freedom. The castle of Borgo Maggiore is one of the 9 districts called castles at the foothills of the Titano. It took the name of Mercatale, or marketplace, because in ancient times trade fairs and markets took place here. Still today, it's the scene of a picturesque weekly market on Thursdays. Borgo Maggiore is the entrance to the hilltop capital, within easy reach by a fast cable car or on foot, going up the picturesque Costa dell'Arnella, or slope of the Arnella, towards the Porta della Rupe, or Gate of the Rock. 3 magnificent buildings overlook the Piazza Grande, the Tower Clock, the Chiesa del Suffragio, or Church of the Intercession, and the 17th century palace of Regent Domenico Maria Belzoppi, the man who saved Garibaldi in 1849. The palace houses the Philatelic and Numismatic Museum and the Garibaldian Museum, containing many antiques which belong to Garibaldi, who personally gave them to the Republic of San Marino. Porta della Rupe, or Gate of the Rock. After going up the slope of the Arnella and entering the town through the Gate of the Rock, which is located on the outer encircling wall, you will get to Contrada Omerelli. Nearby the gate, going up Contrada Omerelli and turning left, the ex-convent of Santa Chiara, decorated with a magnificent 3-arched portico, should not be missed. At present, the building houses the University of San Marino. Not far from here is the Ara dei Volontari, or Altar of Volunteers by Gino Zani. The altar is dedicated to the people of San Marino who died for the unification of Italy. If you climb up the flights of stairs at the side, you will reach the public gardens and the Cava dei Balestrieri, or Crossbowman's Quarry. As time passed, this large empty space was beautifully integrated into the city scenery and became the seat of the yearly Palio dei Balestrieri, or Contest of the Crossbowmen, which takes place on the 3rd of September. In the surroundings of the quarry, you can see some wonderful works of art signed by the most famous Italian artists, Messina, Crocetti, Minguzzi, Greco. As you leave the quarry and come back to the Contrada Morelli, you can reach Palazzo Valloni, or Valloni Palace, which houses the archives of the state, the National Library and a museum. Or, if you prefer going up via Eugippo, you will come to the Cantone. The cable car station is situated in Contrada del Pianello, from where you can admire the Palazzo del Governo. Porta San Francesco, or St. Francis Gate, also named Porta del Loco, is the main entrance of the old part of the town, and it is the starting point for most of the traditional guided tours. The gate is situated in the third encircling wall which stretches along the Piazzale Lo Stradone. From here, a short flight of stairs leads to the Piazzale Calcigni, below a large car and bus park. St. Francis's Gate, whose name derives from the near cloister of the Friars Minor, dates back to the 14th century. The rules for the admission of travellers to the town can still be read in two ancient inscriptions placed under the gate vault. After crossing the gate, turn to your right and beyond Palazzo Fattori, Fattori Palace, you will see the attractive 14th century cloister and the contemporary Church of St. Francis. The church was built with material coming from the demolition of the old cloister, which in the past was located in a place called Murata Vecchia. Consecrated in 1361, the church contains a wooden crucifix dating from the same period, which is placed above the high altar. In the 18th century, it was extensively restored in a neoclassical style. From March 1966, two lodges inside the cloister house the museum and art gallery. This rich collection contains canvases, frescoes, and sacred ornaments of artistic and historical value, such as the canvases of the schools of Carraccio and Guido Reni, a St. Francis by Guercino, and some other paintings by Barocchio. As you go out of the church, the Contrada San Francesco leads to Piazza Sant'Agata, where you can see the magnificent Titano Theatre, restored in 1941 by Gino Zani. If you walk along the wall which surrounds the theatre, you will get to San Quirinus Church, also called Capuchin Convent. The mid-15th century church was built on an ancient chapel devoted to San Quirinus. Under the loggia of the church, a Garibaldian memorial stone commemorates the dissolution of the First Roman Legion. The flag of the Legion is displayed in the inside of the Garibaldian Museum in Palazzo Belzocchi at Borgo Maggiore. Opposite the church stands the Bastion del Teatro, the large tower of the theatre, which was built in the 16th century in defence of the third surrounding circle of city walls. After this short visit, go down again towards St. Francis's Gate. As you walk along Via Basilicus, you will see Casa Simoncini, the house where Garibaldi and Anita found shelter and protection, as commemorated by the stone walled up on its facade. Passing through Via Basilicus, you will reach Piazza del Titano, which lies in the heart of the old town. Palazzo Pergami Belluzzi, the police headquarters, and the Met Office, and the head office of the Cassa di Risparmio savings bank, overlook the square. From here, you can take two directions. Taking the Contrada Omerelli, you can go towards Palazzo Valloni, and then reach the Porta della Rupe, joining again the Contrada del Pianello, or you can go up towards Piazzetta Garibaldi. Firstly, we visit the Palazzo Valloni and the annexed oratory. The two wings of the palace, dating back to different periods between the 15th and 17th centuries, were rebuilt after the 1944 bombing that caused the destruction of many precious documents, old volumes and manuscripts, all kept in the annexed library. Palazzo Valloni is also famous because it was the residence of Cardinal Alberoni during the second conflict of San Marino's dramatic history. Today, the palace houses the archives of the state, the National Library and a museum. Many historical documents are kept in the archives, such as the Placido Feretrano, dating from the 20th of February 885, and Pius II's bull, which was issued on the 27th of June 1463 to give the people of San Marino some of Malatesta's castles. The library, extensively restored and reorganized, is now the home of a large collection of old manuscripts, illuminated codes, precious incunabula, and over 80,000 volumes. The government museum will soon be moved into Palazzo Pergami Belluzzi. At present, most of the material collected here is kept in cases and is not on display. This includes the fossilized remains of the whale found by the geologist Capellini. The painting of San Marino is a beautiful example from the school of Ghirlandaio. The canvas is inspired by San Filippo Neri by Guercino. Now come back to Piazza del Titano. As you go up Contrada del Collegio towards Piazzetta Garibaldi, you will see the Government Philatelic Bureau. Continuing along Contrada del Collegio and leaving Via Donna Felicissima behind you, you will come to a small garden containing a bust of Garibaldi. Inaugurated in 1882, it is one of the first monuments dedicated to Garibaldi, the hero of the two worlds, as he is known. After the crossroads of Contrada Santa Croce, Contrada del Collegio leads to the main square of the old town, the Pianello, renamed since 1907 Piazza della Libertà. Planned by the architect Azzurri, the Palazzo del Governo, or Government House, was erected with the help of local stonecutters on the site of a 14th century building and inaugurated in 1894. The facade of the palace is decorated with a three-arched portico, three mullioned windows, a polygonal balcony, and it is crowned by a superb Guelph crenellated tower. The inside is in a neo-Gothic style, mixed with traces of the pure, unembellished style of central Italy. At the mezzanine, the right corner of the facade is decorated by a bronze statue of Saint Marino. A memorial stone celebrates the founder of liberty. The Statue of Liberty rises in the middle of the square, while in front of Government House stands the Palazzo delle Poste, or Post Office, which was rebuilt in a 15th century style on the site of the ancient town hall by Colamarini and Rastelli in 1932. The old San Marino measurements of length, used in the Republic up to 1907, are carved on the right side of the building. As you leave Piazza della Libertà, you can pass through Contrada del Pianello to reach the cable car station and end your visit of San Marino. Or, as you leave the Pianello, you can walk along Contrada del Collegio, which leads to Piazzale Domus Plebis, where the Basilica del Santo and St. Peter's Church overlook the small square. The Basilica del Santo was erected during the first half of the 19th century on an ancient pieve demolished in 1825. Soon after, it was said that an outrage against history, art, and the public spirit of San Marino had been caused by the demolition of the pre-Romanesque church. With its 5th century nave, it was a precious reminder of an archaic Christianity. But the damage had already been done. The layout of the present neoclassical basilica has a central nave and two side aisles, divided by Corinthian columns. On the left of the high altar, there is the throne of the Regency, a 17th century work of art in carved wood. Relics of Saint Marino are kept in the Holy Reliquary under the altar, while his skull is kept in a showcase made of silver and gold on the right of the altar. The other altars are embellished with many paintings of great artistic, historical and religious value, such as the Madonna del Loreto by Gennari, a painter of the school of Guercino. The Virgin of Mercy, which is venerated on the second Sunday of November. The Noli Me Tangere by Elisabetta Sirani. On the right side of the basilica, you can see the small church of St. Peter. You can go in from the square or from the vestry of the basilica. St. Marino's relics were kept in St. Peter's crypt up to 1713. The superb inlaid marble altar dates from 1689, when it was given as a present to the church by G.A. Tedeschi, a Roman master of mosaic and bas-relief. Behind the altar, the stone apse houses two niches, which, according to local tradition, were St. Marino's and St. Leo's bed places. As you leave the basilica overlooking the square, go up one of the narrow streets leading to the Rocca. You can walk along Contrada della Pieve and then Contrada dei Magazzini, or pass through Contrada del Borgolotto, which wind through the oldest part of the city. One of the largest cisterns for the collection of rainwater stretches across Contrada dei Fossi. The first tower, or guaita, probably dates back to the 11th century. The mighty fortress has no foundations, since it was erected directly on a rock which rises sheer from the plain and from the sea. The tower has two inner circles of walls containing the bell tower and the Torre della Penna, the Tower of the Feather. It has been extensively restored. Inside you can see some well-preserved artillery given by the kings of Italy, which is fired a salve during the national holidays. Passing through Passo delle Streghe, or Witches' Pass, a sort of fortified connecting trench, you reach the second tower, named Cesta or Fratta. Built during the first half of the 13th century, this fortress stands on the outer edge of Monte Titano, 756 metres above sea level. It was restored several times throughout the centuries, and then neglected until it was restored and opened to visitors in 1924 to 1925. Today, the rooms of the fortress guard and of the lord of the castle house the Museum of Ancient Arms, belonging to San Marino. This large collection includes more than 1,500 sidearms, spears, firearms, bows, crossbows, armour, and accessories dating back to different periods between the Middle Ages and the 19th century. A footpath on the top of the hill leads to the third tower, or Montale, winding along the remains of an ancient wall which connects the two strongholds. The tower was used to protect the town against the menace from the nearby Malatesta castle of Fiorentino. The isolated fortress, whose door is set several metres above the ground, has a pentagonal base. Once it was a lookout tower, provided with a bell used to announce sudden dangers or travellers who had to pay the toll. Neglected since the 15th century, it was finally restored in 1935. Don't leave San Marino without seeing the bust of Mahatma Gandhi in Piazzale Gandhi. Viale Kennedy and then Viale Onofri or Viale Franciosi lead from here to car and bus parks and to Borgo Maggiore. The visit of San Marino is over. An outline of the folklore and traditions of San Marino. Love of traditions here is not confined to rituals or outward appearance. Public celebrations are official yet deeply felt by the people of San Marino, who celebrate the most crucial moments of their eventful history, namely the defence of their most precious freedom. On the 5th of February, the people of San Marino celebrate not only St. Agata's Day, the patron saint of Titano, but also the anniversary of Cardinal Alberoni's defeat, the papal legate who tried to annex the Republic to the States of the Church. A ceremony in honour of the Arengo, the Assembly of the Heads of the Families, takes place on the 25th of March. Abolished in a period of stagnation, the Arengo was then restored on the 25th of March 1906, when a small bloodless revolution overthrew the oligarchy that was in power. Public celebrations also include the Festival of the Army, which is celebrated with a parade in colourful, superb 18th century costumes through the narrow streets of the old town. The ceremony for the investiture of the Captain's Regent on the 1st of April and on the 1st of October is not to be missed. They parade along the Contrada del Collegio, escorted by the guards. The fall of fascism is celebrated on the 28th of July. The 1st of September is dedicated to the traditional flag-whirling acrobats, whose flags are beautifully decorated with the coats of arms of the 9 castles and of the Republic. The coats of arms commemorate the medieval battles that San Marino fought in defence of its independence. The foundation of the Republic is celebrated on the 3rd of September with spectacular performances of the crossbowmen, whose arms are the symbol of their restless defence and protection of the Republic. The Palio delle Balestre Grandi, or Contest of the Big Crossbows, was fixed by the 17th century statutes on the Founder's Day and dedicated to him. The Captain's Regent had to give a crossbow with munitions to the Massaro, caretaker of the arms reserves of the city, every 6 months. If they didn't, their wages were halved, as reported in the 13th century statutes. Beyond these fundamental aspects, love of tradition is also expressed by the survival of ancient guilds and handicrafts. For example, the wide stretches of land situated all over the town derive from old quarries such as the Cava dei Balestrieri or Crossbowman's Quarry, the Cava degli Umbri and the Cava Antica, which bear witness to the ancient work of stonecutters or lapicidi. A permanent handicraft exhibition is housed in the building of the Unione Artigiani, Viale Federico d'Urbino, containing beautiful examples of local handicraft, pottery, goldsmiths' works, wrought iron and wood carvings. You should not leave San Marino without having tasted its specialities. They have fascinating names. Try the traditional dishes, the delicious cakes, such as the Gitano and the Tre Monti, and the local liqueurs Tilus and Duca di Gualdo, whose recipes are secretly handed down from father to son. The wines produced from grapes harvested exclusively in the territory of the Republic are also highly praised. The Biancale is a white table wine, fresh and dry and harmonious with a subtle bitter touch. The sparkling white Grillet, fermented naturally with a refined fruity taste, is fresh and lively and pleasing on any occasion. The Cantastorie, a red wine made from Sangiovese grapes, is to be drunk as a young wine in order to fully appreciate its fragrance. The Moscato is a delicate sweet and fragrant dessert wine.